What is happening, people? And welcome everybody to In the End Zone UK, our weekly American football podcast. It is week 10. It's in the books. It's over. And what a week it was. We had a fantastic week of football this week. Some surprises, some big games, some upsets. And we will be covering it all in this week's podcast. So, I am your host, Dom, as usual, and I am joined by, this week, the champ of the week, the man who has done the double-double. It's Mr. Big, Dave. How's it going, Dave?
All good. Double crown. Nothing better than a double crown. Well, a triple crown's better than a double crown, but as no triple crowns on offer, I'll take the double crown.
Absolutely. A Giants win and a win in fantasy. Technically, could this be a triple crown because you beat me in fantasy? Or is it just a fantasy win?
I never thought of it that way.
That just tastes a little more sweet.
This is a double and a half crown, this one.
Yeah, it really was. And not only did you beat me, but you smashed me. You had an amazing week in fantasy. I mean, some of the players you had that did extremely well this week, Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, I had absolutely not a chance and didn't deserve to win this one. Still sitting pretty at the top of the league at the moment, but you've clawed a game back on me for sure.
Yeah, I need to make my way into the playoffs. I feel like I've had a couple of dodgy weeks where my team players that have been on bye weeks have cost me because I've had no decent replacements, but I had a full team this week and it showed, I think.
Yeah, definitely did. So it was it was a big win in fantasy, and it came just at the right time. We are now heading into crucial fantasy time, as every game and every loss counts either towards making the playoffs or maybe being booted out. Now we're going to cover, as usual, all of the games this week. We're going to talk about the upsets. We're going to hit you with some of our favorite segments. We're going to hit slap or sign, and a special little segment at the end of this podcast. Me and Dave are going to do old goats versus young guns, and we'll explain what that is a little bit later. But for now, let's get into some news. And we've avoided it for a couple of weeks, but unfortunately, those gloomy injuries have come back to haunt some players of the NFL. So, Dave, injuries. Cooper Kupp, the superstar wide receiver of last year, he is now injured and he's been placed on injured reserve, IR, for 4 weeks, maybe out for even longer. What does that do to the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, who have been struggling already this year as reigning Super Bowl champions?
Yeah, struggled with everything. What are they, 3-6 now?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're 3-6. That's an awful start for the defending champs, and it probably means that they ain't going to make the playoffs, I don't think, unless they pull the finger out. But I don't know, maybe they can go out there and get an Odell Beckham. He's still on the market.
That's true. And he was there last year. I just think the only bright spark for the Rams this year has really been Cooper Kupp. He's been the man that has still consistently put up numbers, whilst everybody else has had a relatively quiet, I'm not saying fell by the wayside, but you look at some of their superstar players. Aaron Donald, I think he's had 4, maybe 5 sacks this year, which is obviously not bad in anybody's books, but it's bad in his books. Bobby Wagner has not been the Bobby of Seattle. Jalen Ramsey's been burnt many a time this year, much to your happiness, Dave. But they've not really hit on anything with their superstar players, and their basic players are also not doing very well, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like I don't hear anything about the Rams. Even when the game's on, they don't seem to be putting them on much. No,
it's because there's nothing happening. Yeah. It's because literally there's nothing happening. They scored 17 points this week, and that was, against a relatively beat up Cardinals team. 17 points. The Rams were putting up 30 plus points every week last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's changed apart from the loss of Odell Beckham. I don't really see what's changed that much. And now they've got no run game whatsoever. Matt Stafford was out this week.
He was, yeah. They're suffering.
Bit of a bad time for him.
It's a bad time. So they're suffering big time after the loss of Cooper Kupp, and another superstar who has actually not come to play at all this year. I think he might have played 2 games and now has been ruled out for the remainder of the season. Shaquille Leonard, or previously Darius Leonard, for the Colts, who got their big win of the week this week with with some janitor as their head coach. Managed to scrape a win, and I thought they would. I actually put a bet on the Colts because I thought, you know what, they're going to rally behind this weirdo, and they're gonna win a game for him, and then they're going to get pounded for the rest of the season, which is still what I think is going to happen. But the Colts managed to get a win, but it's not with the help of their leader, a captain on the defense, their all-pro and superstar linebacker Shaquille Darius Leonard. And he's gone out for the season. I think this is just another bit of murky water for the Colts that they're going to have to wade through for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, he's not played at all, has he? I know you drafted him in fantasy, and you've been frustrated that he's not been doing anything. But
yeah,
out for the season now. Better luck next year, pal.
I know he's historically been a bit of a points machine in fantasy, which is why I think he was the second linebacker I took behind Jordan Brooks for the Seahawks, who's actually paid dividends. But Shaq Leonard has done next to nothing, and that's a big miss off the defense for the Colts, because he's one of those players that is always there or thereabouts, and he's a game changer at times. He forces things. He gets picks. He forces fumbles. He's peanut punches the ball out, gets turnovers. And I think as good as the Colts defense still is without him, because they've got some really good key pieces, DeForest Buckner, Stephon Gilmore, Kenny Moore, they're just not quite where they need to be. So yeah, a couple of big injuries there for the Colts and the Rams, and there were a few more this week, but nothing that I saw that was season ending. So we'll keep the gloominess to those superstar players. I'm calling the episode this week, Dave, "The Mighty Have Fallen." The mighty have fallen, and that is because last night in the final game of the week, the one undefeated team in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, were brought to a halt by the Washington Commanders, and there are now no undefeated teams in the NFL, and I'd imagine you loved to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a weird situation, really, because both teams are in my division. But the division is looking ridiculous at the minute. The Eagles are 8-1 now. The Giants are 7-2. The Cowboys are 6-3, and the Windsox are 5-5.
Yeah, they're all above 500, and yeah, your Giants are looking good in that division at 7-2, one game behind the Eagles, who are now defeated.
Yeah, and I think not to talk too much about them before. I mean, if we talk about it now, we can probably skip over it a little bit later on. But the Eagles, they couldn't stop the run. They're a team that relies on the run. They couldn't get it going, and they couldn't stop it.
Yeah, they got bullied on the ground this week, and I was shocked. You know, I didn't think the Eagles were going to go 17-0 this year. It's a hard thing to do, but I certainly didn't think that the Windsox, the Commanders, were going to put a hurting on the Eagles, but they absolutely did. 32 to the Eagles 21. It's things you love to see, and I know that you said previously that you think that you hate the Eagles more than any team in the NFL. You've got to love seeing them get beat down, and I suppose the only thing that takes the edge off is that the Commanders somehow are now chomping at the bit to catch the Cowboys. 6-3. The Commanders have got 5 wins themselves. It's an absolutely crazy division, when last year the NFC East looked awful. Like, not just bad, it looked dog shit, and
all time bad.
Yeah, like horrendous. And now it looks like and is the best division in the NFL at the moment, which is it's amazing what can happen in the NFL. It's amazing, but yeah, good to see the Eagles brought down to earth to show that they are not invincible. The mighty have fallen. The name of this episode also is in reference to the Bills losing this week. We'll talk about that game a little bit later because it was absolutely ridiculous. It was the game of the year so far for me, but the Bills lost. And as good as they are and as good as they have been and as good as they started the season, and we definitely gave much kudos and much brown nose into the Bills defense and Josh Allen, maybe even more so from me because I've got him in fantasy, but we were singing the praise of the Bills saying, how on earth can you stop an offense like that? Well, they have well and truly fallen down to earth in the last couple of weeks, losing to the Jets and losing to the Vikings. Now, losing to the Vikings is not a massive issue considering they're playing pretty well, but the two losses on the bounce, the way that Josh Allen's playing, have the mighty fallen, Dave? Have the wheels come off?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I mean, they've had a big loss when they lost, obviously, Brian Daboll to us. And you can now see how great of a coach he is, and the fact how he's turned the Giants around. So, is that something that's contributing to their inability to finish some of these games? I mean, that game should have been wrapped up.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, and it should have been wrapped up for sure.
So. Yeah,
no, you make a good point, and they're the things that not everybody sees, because you can't see it on the field, right? You don't see the coaches. You certainly don't see the coaches that have left. And Brian Daboll is having an absolute season as the head coach of the New York Football Giants, and he was the offensive coordinator for the Bills last year, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think right now Josh Allen is. You wouldn't have said it at the start of the season, but right now it looks like he needs a quarterback whisperer in his ear, because my little take on it, if I'm going to put one out there, is that I think Josh Allen has lost his head a little bit. I don't think it's necessarily for the season, but since watching him against the Jets, the man has made some really, really bad mistakes. Like, not just missed throws or bad decisions. Like, he's made some clinical game-losing errors, and you can see it in his face when he's post-game interviewing. The guy's taking these losses pretty hard and he's taking them personally. And I think he's in his own head a bit. And unless he's got somebody who can pull him out of that funk, I've got a weird feeling that the Bills, I don't think they're going to drop off entirely. They're too good. The defense is too good. They've got too many special players. But I've got a feeling they're gonna level out and be pretty average for a while. It's just my take on it.
No, I think you're exactly right. I just don't know. They've looked. I mean, I don't want to say average because they don't look average, but they don't run the ball.
No, they don't.
I don't understand why they don't run the ball. They just try and throw it down everyone's necks, or Josh Allen will run it. But they've got running backs, just give them a go, give them a pop, see what happens.
Absolutely. So, The Mighty Have Fallen is the name of this episode, and we've done a bit of talking about some players and teams there, but we will use that as a segue to talk about a few more players and swing into one of our favourite segments. Whilst you've been away training, Dave, have you been rest and recuperating your hands? Have you done anything to really harden them up for a slap or sign at all?
I wish that I could tell you I had, but I don't feel like I've had time to do anything other than what I've been doing up here. I've been typing away on computers, and you saying the way I type, I'm a one-finger typer.
Yeah.
So my finger is extremely strong, so I might have to poke people this week. Yeah,
slap or poke or sign. Yeah. We'll go for it. I'm also tired. I've been working a lot as well. It's a bit relentless this time of year.
It's not a competition.
in retail. No, I know. I'm just saying. So I might have to just give one of those, like the backhanded slaps, like the sort of I challenge you to a duel type of slap, or maybe just hold a little leather glove and just
pull your gauntlet out.
I challenge you to a slap or sign. And with that, we will go into our segment, which is slap or sign. Now, Dave, we're going to dive straight into it, and we're going to dive straight into the A for K, AFC.
Okay.
And I want your AFC sign, please.
My AFC sign is a man we've already spoke about. It's the leader in the race for the MVP. It's Patrick Mahomes. Ooh. This may seem like a very, very safe pick. However, the man doth give. And 331 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but he rushed also for another 39 yards. He can just do it all. I think, like I say, having him in fantasy this year has just made me open my eyes a little bit to how good he actually is. And he just seems like he can throw 4 touchdowns every week if he wants to.
Absolutely. He's a beast. I've been saying it obviously for forever, but I'm not the only one. Don't think I love him quite as much as Tony Romo loves him, but I do love him because I respect the guy, because he's just an animal. Like, yeah, he threw a pick this week, Dave, but all QBs throw picks. It's almost inevitable. But he threw 4 touchdowns and he spread that ball out absolutely everywhere. Like Noah Gray, Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Travis Kelce, they all got one. Like he like that. People feast on Mahomes, man. They feast on Mahomes, and I don't expect you to change the way that you feel, but having him in fantasy, which I've had for the previous 2 years, it does make you watch him, doesn't it? And it makes you realize just the type of. He's just so unique, the type of plays he can make. And like you say, he can do it with his legs if he doesn't do it with his arms. It's unbelievable. 400 yards a week at the minute, this man's doing.
Yeah, the guy's godlike, and he's just making every other quarterback look average. I mean, apart from Daniel Jones, he is the best QBR
of the week.
Yeah, well, no, the year.
Of the year, okay.
Nobody's had a better QBR than him this year. But this is about Patrick Mahomes, and yeah, the guy's doing bits.
Yeah, as you said, makes it an easy choice, and those easy choices, they might be the easy ones, but they're the ones you take. And at the moment, there is no but front runner for MVP than Patrick Mahomes. So good sign there. I always love to see a Patrick Mahomes sign. Go on, Paddy. Okay. AFC slap. Who is getting the death poke from you today, Dave?
I nearly gave it to the Raiders entire franchise. However, I've gone for another franchise which is equally as woeful, the Denver Broncos.
You're slapping the whole lot.
The entire organization.
I said give it back now. Noah!
Larry, what the hell are you doing?
Larry! Larry, you can't just... Oh,
Larry! Oh, are you all right? How did...
Larry!
They are flipping awful. 10 points this week. They scored all the points in the second quarter. Didn't do a nothing in the other 3. So they're getting it. I can't even watch them anymore.
They are that bad, aren't they?
They're awful. And I don't know why they're so awful, but they're awful. Russ, 50% completion percentage, which is pathetic. 286 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Just awful. The leading rusher, 24 yards.
They're not getting anything going on offense, are they? Through the air or or through their running backs. It's woeful actually when you look at it. Their defense is the only thing that's got anything going for it, but it's still not doing enough. I saw a thing on Instagram, I think, saying that if the Broncos had managed to score 18 points, 18 points in every game that they played this year, they'd have been 8-1.
Yeah.
If they could have scored 18 points. Now, how ridiculous is it that a team with Cortland Sutton, with Jerry Jeudy, with running backs like Melvin Gordon, Latavius Murray, and a quarterback that until this season was Hall of Fame bound, aren't able to put up more than 18 points in a game consistently?
No. And Drew Lock averaged 20 points a game when he was their quarterback.
That is mental. And he sat on the Seattle Seahawks bench, along with 2 first-round picks that we got for Russ. It's looking pretty nice for us now, but yeah, the Broncos are not looking good. They lost again this week. They fall to 3-6, which is great for the Seahawks and our pick that we're going to get off them. But equally, the Tennessee Titans rolled them over, only scoring 17 points themselves, but it was enough, and the Titans have gone to 6-3. So great slap there, Dave. And like you say, don't know how, don't know why, but the Broncos country is not riding.
Not very far anyway.
Or if they are, they're riding a rocking horse, just back and forth.
Riding a seesaw.
All right, cool. Into the NFC. Into the NFC. What are you going to give me from the NFK? I will go for the sign of the NFC, please.
I'm going to do something that we have not done in 2 years of doing this podcast. I'm going to slap and sign the same player.
Excuse me?
Yep. How am I doing this, you may ask?
I want to know.
I am slapping Justin Fields. I am also signing Justin Fields. I'm signing him because his individual play for the last 2 weeks has been amazing.
Yeah.
He's had over 300 rush yards in 2 weeks and over 300 passing yards in 2 weeks. He has not won any of them games.
Yeah, that's the linchpin, right?
So you can have great individual stats as any player other than a quarterback without winning games, and it'd be fine. But when your quarterback is having great individual numbers, like breaking records that have been held for however many years, and you're still losing games, it ain't good enough. I think they're 31 points put on them by the Lions this week. And ultimately, it comes down to your quarterback getting it done, and he's just not getting it done for him, which is sad because he did have, yet again, another amazing week. 147 rush yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 167 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and an interception.
It's damn good, that is. They are great numbers, but as you said, if they don't amount to wins, they are literally worth nothing.
They are empty calories. They are. If he was a type of food, he would be a rice cake. Because it's just nothing to it.
Absolutely zero benefit whatsoever.
Yeah. So
okay, Justin Fields, slap and sign. So is that going to be your slap and sign? Is that both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're done.
Both.
Look at that. He's getting both. Both barrels.
Both fingers. Okay. Not in that way.
Oh no, not Justin Fields. He looks like a Ninja Turtle.
He does. Right. Give me your AFC slap.
My AFC slap. Oh, it's really difficult, this one. So I'm going to slap and then I'm going to give an honourable mention. So my slap goes all the way back to the Thursday night game, if you can remember it. And football fans, if you're listening, this Thursday night game felt like a long while ago after that Sunday of football. However, the Panthers played the Falcons for the second time this year, and the Panthers came up trumps. The Panthers are awful, by the way. However, I am slapping a Falcon. I am slapping Marcus Mariota. And this might be, dare I say, questionable, given his stats. Not necessarily horrendous. He did better than the other quarterback opposite him, but he had 2 touchdowns, 1 horrific interception, only 185 yards. But if you watched this game, and I kind of urge you to go and just watch some highlights, maybe don't watch the whole game because you'll fall asleep. But Marcus Mariota, Dave, looked absolutely awful. And I mean, I was watching it, laughing and cringing at this guy running left, running right, but not making any yards, spinning out of tackles, into sacks, trying to make something happen, but just the entire wrong way. He looked abysmal. And not only that, but it came down to like the icing on the cake, or the cherry in your, what's your favorite cake, Dave?
Cherry Bakewell.
The cherry in your cherry Bakewell was Mariota being sacked, rolling himself forward midair and just hurling the ball towards nothingness, which got intercepted, but the interception came back because technically Mariota was down. But I'd never seen anything like it. It was like the mirror image of Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers, when he like laid out flat and zipped a pass into the receiver's hands, like a throw that you should just not make and should not be able to make, but Mahomes made it. This was the entire opposite. This was a throw that anybody could make, but you should just never throw. And he just looked like such an idiot whilst he did it. It was a horrible game for Mariota. It just proved that the Falcons have, they're in such a bad state of affairs at their quarterback position. They're 4-6 on the year, which is not bad at all in some books, but he's just bad. So bad. And I wanted to slap him there and then. I literally wrote that on Thursday. I wrote my slap for the week. That was it. So yeah, and my honourable mention has got to be Josh Allen. Just arcing back to the things that I said. I nearly slapped him, but I don't think he quite deserves the slap yet. But he fumbled the snap on the one, which gave the Vikings the chance to come back, and then he threw the game losing interception in overtime. Josh Allen has never won a game in overtime, by the way, in the NFL. Not one.
That is unbelievable.
He's been in 5 and he's lost every single one. So honourable mention and a very close slap for Josh Allen if Mariota had not just been a laughing stock.
Jesus. Happy days. Okay. Your sign.
My sign for the AFC, you're going to have to help me with this one, Dave, because I can never say his name right. But I am signing Tua.
No, go on, you've got to try it.
I'm signing Tua.
Should we just call him Tua from now on?
No, I need to get it right though. I'm signing Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, get in. Tua's getting it, and I'm not saying that one again.
Listeners, by the way, has a degree. He's not a dumb individual.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that.
School with no education and went into the army for 18 years. The other one has a successful business career.
But I can't say surnames.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm signing Tua. I'm signing him because I don't think he's had a sign this year, and boy, is it time that the guy gets some recognition. He passed for 280 yards. He had a passer rating of 135, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. This is probably an accumulation sign over the course of the time that he's been playing with the Dolphins this year. He's not lost a game as a starter with the Dolphins this year, and leaning into the back of last year. The Dolphins are 7-3. They've only lost 3 when he's not been a full game starter. He is facilitating a fantastic receiving career for Jalen Waddle. He's extending and surpassing an even better receiving career for Tyreek Hill. And he's doing it all as a lefty. And I'm a lefty. As a fellow lefty, I have to hold up my left hand to him and say, Tua, well done. You're killing life.
Good job, Tua. From Dobbs' left hand, good job.
Yeah, I can assure you, I'd only give him a fist bump. But yeah, I'm going with him because, what can you say? The Dolphins put up 39 points on the Browns. Easily.
Yeah. No, he's a good player, and he is definitely a top 10 quarterback now. Sweet. Right, moving over to the NFC. Give me your sign.
So, you may have been waiting for this for a very long time, Dave. I was waiting. I was waiting for a moment where it was unquestionable. Not just when he had a good game, not just when he looked okay for who he is, but when he looks great for a quarterback. And I am signing this week Mitch Trubisky. I'm signing Daniel Jones. I'm signing Daniel Jones. I'm signing Daniel Jones. I'm signing him because when you actually look at what he produced in this game, and I know it was only against the Houston Texans, but there are no bad teams in the NFL apparently. The Texans have been a bit of a speed bump for a lot of teams this year, albeit the speed bump has been run over 7 times. Daniel Jones just had a day, 153.3 passer rating, as you alluded to earlier, Dave, is the best passer rating that has been achieved in the NFL this year. He had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He completed 3 of 17 passes. He ran for 24.
3 of 17, sorry, strong.
13 of 17. And he ran for another 24 just to add those on. Not an amazing run day like what he has done in previous weeks, but he facilitated a very good win over the Houston Texans. And I think he just gives that sort of play action possibility to open up Saquon, who had 150 on the ground. He's doing absolute damage this year as well. The Giants are legit this year, and it's a coaching thing. Not taking it away from the players, of course, they're good. But the coach has found a way to unlock a scheme that works in New York, and a scheme that is, I think it's just hard to beat is the issue. The Seahawks did it, but other than that, the Giants have put away some good teams, and Daniel Jones has played safe football for the most part, and that's all you need from a quarterback: safe but good football, and allow your best players to shine. And Saquon and your defense is stifling. And Slayton had a good day as well this week, albeit his massive touchdown came from a horrendous missed tackle on the part of the Texans. But you take those all day.
Yeah, I mean, he still had to beat another 2 defenders. Like that was a good little run. That it should have been essentially blown up behind the line to game, but you miss them tackles, you get punished in this league. It went for like a 65-yard or something like that, wasn't it? 55-yarder.
54, yeah, it was big.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Saquon absolutely slaying life, leading the league in rush yards and scrimmage yards. The team's just playing well. Up from
Big Danny Dimes.
Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams had an amazing day. Both made a sack each, I think, and a couple of quarterback hits. And yeah, I don't know if it's. I still don't think we're a good team, but that game, the Texans aren't a great team, and I was entirely comfortable for the entire game. It's the first game this season that we've led from start to finish.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. That's good. That's good to know.
And we definitely left points on the table in the first half. So it was 2 red zone turnovers. There's nothing more you could have asked. We almost played a complete game, which is great for us. And yeah, and hopefully we can move on next week, beat the Lions, and then I think it is on to Dallas. It's on to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, that'll be a good game to watch.
Yeah.
Always love the Thanksgiving games. Get a turkey in, get some Yorkshire puds in.
Yeah, I'm still up here, but nice one. cheers for rubbing it in, but yeah.
Soz, bro.
But yeah, no, the Giants play well, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
Happy
good
days.
stuff. Danny Dimes
Right.
gets a sign.
I honestly thought he was going to sign Saquon.
No.
He's unbelievable, Saquon.
He's great, yeah. But
To
it was
watch
nearly
every
there.
snap he plays, he's just unbelievable.
Nearly there, but I thought I'd go for Danny. I thought whilst he's got the best passer rating in the league so far this year, I'll jump on that wagon.
Yeah, I mean, he's never going to be Patrick Mahomes. He's never going to be Josh Allen. But if he can be a Kirk Cousins or an Alex Smith, I'm happily keep him around.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, and we'll finish with your NFC flap.
So there's loads of people that could have got it, but this one's a really basic one. And do you know what? I'm being really petty right now. I'm going to be really petty, and I'm happy to be so. But I'm slapping Aaron Jones from the Packers.
Okay.
I'm slapping him because I think he's a dick.
Okay.
That's it. I think he's a dick. So the Packers won this week. Yay, Packers. Well done. You managed to get a win. It was against the Cowboys, so some people will perceive that as impressive. I perceive it as Rodgers throwing some very lucky balls to a receiver that usually drops them, and they came off for once. And Aaron Jones, it pissed me off. So as a Seahawks fan, as you know, Dave, and as most people will know on the podcast, there is a legendary Seahawk who will go down as a legendary Seahawk called Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode. He changed the game as a running back for Seattle, and he changed the game as a running back in the league, really. He didn't need to be the fastest, but he just had a step on him. He could go through people, put his head down, evade, shrug people off. He was an animal. And he scored a touchdown in the playoffs in 2012 or 11 against the Saints that was called the Beast Quake. That's what it was nicknamed. And he did so by running past around 10 of the 11 players on the defense of the Saints, handing them off, pushing them away, stepping out, inside and outside, and then diving into the end zone and turning around, and he grabbed his nuts as he dived into the end zone. He got a flag for it. But that became sort of his trademark celebration. Aaron Jones ran in as a Packer from about 7 yards out and had to beat but one fat DT on the outside, and turned around and gave him the Marshawn Lynch celebration nuts grab. And that pissed me off. And that's why I'm slapping him.
Okay, not petty at all.
Absolutely pissed me right off. Aaron Jones thinking he's some sort of beast mode when he scored a touchdown that I could have scored. Have a word with yourself.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, really, really wound me up.
I'll watch after
this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, they got a win, didn't they? Packers got a win. So hence the reason Aaron Rodgers wasn't slapped this week.
Yeah.
You can have a week off. Having my handprint on his face for the entire game. Not that he did a lot for it, but
no.
I think
maybe it was your slap.
Yards rushing. Yeah, they had about 200 yards rushing. Didn't they?
Yeah. They did well on the ground, yeah, and then he managed to get the ball to where it needed to go. A lot of his throws were desperation. That's a part of it that doesn't impress me. Like the big deep throws to Christian Watson and whatever, a lot of it was desperate. But they won the game, so I'll give him that credit. A win's a win, a dub's a dub. It sets them up to not be, totally counted out for this season. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of games. I think they're going to go back to being shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We shall see.
We shall. Okay. That's that. We've covered a lot of games in doing so. End of slap or sign. But some of the games that we've not covered for this week were the Lions taking on the Bears. So I know that you mentioned Justin Fields, Dave, and with that monumental effort that he put into the game, they still couldn't come up trumps and beat the Detroit Lions. They lost to the Lions 31-30. These two teams in the same division, they are both garbage. They are both awful. They're just fighting for worst place. The Lions are 3-6. The Bears are 3-7. What a place to be in that division if you're the Packers or the Vikings. You got two gimmies every fucking year, and these Bears and Lions went at it like it was the freaking Super Bowl. But actually, it was like watching two homeless men fight over the last donut on the middle of the pavement. It was awful.
The Super Bowl is what that was. Two bomb franchises going after the little bread roll. Do you know, like the wholemeal bread roll that nobody wants?
Yeah, that's a bit stale.
Yeah, you know.
I know that kind of roll. My favourite rolls they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, awful game. Finished 31-30. Nothing to say about that. You've covered this one as well, from slapping the entire franchise, but the Broncos did lose to the Tennessee Titans. There was really not anything of note in this game to get excited about. Derrick Henry was held to 50 yards by the Broncos. Russell Wilson had an average game. Jerry Jeudy went down injured, and the star of the game was Westbrook Okudah, who had 120 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns for the Titans. I'd heard of him, but I knew nothing about him before that game, and I'm sure we'll never hear anything about him afterwards, but he got the deal done. 17-10. Titans go to 6-3, and the Broncos fall to 3-6, which is lovely to see. The Jags played the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes just dealt out absolute venom, spit fire all over the Jags for the majority of that game. And it was nice to see a few players get involved, actually, and maybe not nice for you, Dave. I don't know if you're bitter about it or not, but to see Kadarius Toney stepping up for the Chiefs was quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hold any ill will against him, to be honest with you. He didn't want to be in New York. We didn't want him. Got some trade picks.
Yeah,
have at it.
Yeah. Seems like a good acquisition for the Chiefs, though. You know, just with the receiving core that they've got at the moment, it's very eclectic, very sporadic. You know, they're all very different players. You've got a lanky, tall receiver in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You've got a tiny little fast receiver in Mikael Hardman. You've got Kadarius Toney, who's kind of like a hybrid Tyreek Hill / I don't know, he's a bit like a running back as well. And then you've got Juju Smith-Schuster, who got knocked the fuck out in that game. If you saw it, he was sat on the floor twitching after a massive hit, which I'm not laughing at necessarily. It's not great to see, but Juju's one of the more annoying TikTok players in the NFL. So hopefully that'll knock some sense into him. And the Chiefs looked amazing as we said before, and obviously Travis Kelce just does bits every week as well. So Chiefs won 27-17. The Jags, in your words from last week, Dave, which made me laugh, the Jags jagsed it up.
Yeah.
Dolphins beat the Browns. It is what they do. The Dolphins beat the Browns 39-17. Two are having a massive day, and Jeff Wilson had 120 yards on the ground for Dolphins as well. So they're looking like a great team to beat in the AFC. The Steelers beat the Saints. Awful game. Absolutely terrible. Awful game. 20 to the Steelers, 10 to the Saints. Steelers are 3-6. Saints are 3-7. Another homeless battle of the awful. Only good thing out of this game was to see TJ Watt come back into action, and my God, does he make a difference for that team?
Yeah, got a sack as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a beast. He is just one of the most game affecting players on defense that there is in the game, and I think not saying he was the reason they won, because the Saints could only put up 10 points, but he was definitely a big reason as to why they won. The Saints need to reevaluate everything.
Yeah, we had a big chat about it in my fantasy locker room after our win this week.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Welcoming JJ back, TJ back. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, got all the players together, did you?
Yeah,
celebrated the win.
What we do.
All got naked, got in the shower, slapped each other's asses.
Yeah.
Love it.
Pass the sausage.
I'm not going to ask what the rules are involved in pass the sausage. Don't want to know.
First rule of Sausage Club is there are no rules.
Oh, nice. The Raiders, who again could have got a slap from me and you this week, but we just decided to let dying dogs die. They played the Colts. They got beat by the Colts, a Colts team that is being managed by somebody who should probably work in McDonald's. And the Raiders just are god awful. And do you know why I nearly slapped him this week as well, Dave? It was because Derek Carr in his press conference nearly cried the absolute wuss.
He's a melt, isn't
he? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
He nearly cried.
His time's done there.
Oh my God. Like, he was like, because I'm a Raider and we work hard. I don't like losing. It was like, come on, mate.
He's going to be a Seahawk next year, so you want to...
A Seahawk?
You want to be getting on his side, you do.
If Derek Carr's a Seahawk next year, I will start following the Cowboys.
You heard it here. You heard that here.
If Derek Carr's a Seahawk, I'm a Cowboys fan. But the Raiders lost 20-25. Colts go 4-5-1. Raiders go 2-7. The Cowboys lost to the Packers, as we spoke about earlier. They took an early lead and then just really died a death. And the Packers kept the pace on at Lambeau Field, did what they needed to do. And it was a good win for the Packers at the end of the day. They needed to do something, and they did it. And he did it under the arms or in the arms of Christian Watson, new rookie receiver, 3 touchdowns for just over 100 yards. It might be his coming out party, or maybe he just got lucky. We will see over the course of the next couple of weeks. Cowboys, to mess that one up, their defense is not fantastic in the scheme of things compared to others that are out there. And Dak Prescott needs to be looked at as well. Really needs to be looked at through 2 horrible picks. But apparently, according to, I think it was Mark Sanchez who was talking through the game, apparently both of those picks were not on Dak Prescott. Apparently they were on the receivers running the wrong route. But I don't know. As a quarterback, you've got to be able to read the game whilst the game's playing, not throw those kind of picks. So Cardinals beat the Rams, not one to talk about in any shape or form. Both starting quarterbacks were injured and out for the game. Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford didn't play, so it was almost like a game that was not worth watching. 27-17 to the Cardinals. Cardinals go 4-6. Rams go 3-6. Terrible position for the NFC West. For both of these teams, that at the start of the year, I think there was a lot of hype around who was actually going to win, and they're both not doing that. So, and then the last couple of games was the Chargers taking on the San Francisco 49ers, and the 49ers bullied the Chargers to a 22-16 win. I don't have too much to say about it. You know, it was what it was. Jimmy Garoppolo was a safe pair of hands. Christian McCaffrey had to punch it in over the line when he needed to. Nobody did anything special in this game. Niners defense is obviously a bit of a savage. And again, Justin Herbert could not get shit done. I know you're not a massive fan, Dave.
No, not at all. Tits pervert needs to reevaluate his play style, I think.
Yeah, all move teams.
Brandon Staley needs to just fucking do one.
He does. One of the worst coaches.
Utter caca.
He is. I really don't like him either, and I do think that the Chargers have got a history of stifling players that could have made it bigger in the NFL. LaDainian Tomlinson, Phil Rivers, being just a couple of them, not winning Super Bowls, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But the Niners go to 5-4, Chargers go to 5-4 in their respective divisions. As we've spoken about already, the Commanders did win against the Eagles, knocking them off their pedestal of the win, the only team to be unbeaten. They go to 8-1. The Commanders go to 5-5, and they beat them 32-21. And then we've got our two games, Dave. So my game, the Seattle Seahawks, was played in Germany, in Die München, yeah, and it looked like it was an amazing place to be that day. Apparently nearly 3 or 5 million tickets. I think it was 3 million, but nearly 3. Yeah, it was nearly 3 million tickets were applied for this game. And obviously the stadium only had a capacity of about 80,000. And the pre-game looked amazing. All the parties that they had in the streets looked amazing in Munich. And it was a great thing for the NFL, another city on another continent in another country. And it probably felt like a playoff game to the Seahawks and the Bucs, but it was a pretty good game. It started slow. I expected us to lose this one. I know last week you said that you thought the Seahawks were going to put double-digit points on the Bucs and win. I didn't expect necessarily that. I thought that it was going to be a tighter game than it was. It was the kind of game that I expected it to be, really. And I expected the Bucs defense to turn up, which is exactly what happened. And they stifled us in every area, really. They shut down the run, which is what the Bucs have not been able to do all year. Levante David and Devin White were on steroids for this game, and Vita Vea was playing really well. They did everything they needed to stop Kenneth Walker, which meant that it was a struggle for Geno to get things going. He still had 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the GOAT, Tom Brady, was just too much for the Seahawks to stop. And I think that in big games, Tom Brady shows what he's made of, and the Bucs deserved the win in that one. We made too many mistakes. We had about 13 penalties called in that game, which is awful. Pete Carroll needs to get on top of that. We've got a young team. They make too many mistakes. But a couple of bright sparks for us was that Tariq Woolen got another interception. Our superstar cornerback from this year's draft, and Tyler Lockett looked healthy again. Geno looked okay, but yeah, there wasn't too much positivity to take away from that. And we lost 16-21.
Yeah, it's not great when you lose, is it?
Scheiße. That's all I've got to say. Essen, mein Scheiße.
But yeah, I mean, I've spoken about the Giants, really. I don't think there's much more to add. No. We won again. That's what happens, isn't it?
Just another big win. Yeah, 24-16. The Giants go to 7-2, and the Texans.
Yeah, well, I'll say one thing. 7-2 is the most wins we've had since I've been a Giants fan.
You've had this is 7 wins?
Uncharted territory now. This is so. 6 wins was the most I'd seen us have.
Wow, you're stepping into a new realm.
Yeah,
the realm of the winner.
2016. This is the most wins I've seen the Giants have. 2017.
Well, all I can say is just be very glad that you're not a Texans fan, because they suck so hard.
They are a pure bottom feeder.
1-7-1. That's what they are right now.
Awful.
1-7-1. 1 win, 7 losses, and a freaking draw.
Yeah, I tell you what, though,
something.
That Damian Pierce is good.
He is, yeah. He's a good running back. Good. It will turn out to be a good running back. They just need to sort out everything else. Absolutely everything else.
Trade him to a good team so they don't waste his career like they did with Deshaun Watson, JJ Watt,
DeAndre Hopkins.
The fucking list. The list is endless. Larry Tunsil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. So that's it. That's the game recaps. And then we're now going to go into our final segment, a segment that I think will be quite interesting, actually, Dave. And we're going to call this one Old Goats versus Young Guns. And that is going to be me and you, Dave, picking players, young and old, to go against each other. So I just want an offense from you that can be made up of players that are no older than 24 years old. They have to be 24 or younger. And I'm going to pitch a defense against them that is 30 years and older. And we can.
I'm just going to say that my team is going to piss all over yours.
Your team's going to piss all over mine. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll come to a conclusion once we've given those team members. I'd imagine, in a game of sports, youth may have its advantages, but there's nothing better than a wise old goat. Said nobody ever.
No.
Oh, there's nothing better than a wise old goat.
Nothing better.
Nothing. Okay, so we're going to go with a young gun offense versus an old goat defense. Dave, do you want to take it first?
Do you want my entire list?
I want to know your list. So I want you to take us through your quarterback, a running back, 2 receivers, a tight end, and 2 offensive linemen.
Okay, so at quarterback, I've got the man who you signed this week, Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh.
He's 24 years old, the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, or the Fins.
The Fins. Yeah.
At running back, I have Jonathan Taylor, 23 years old, the running back of the Indianapolis Colts. My wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, who is 23, and Jamar Chase, who is 22.
Oh, my God.
My tight end is Kyle Pitts, who is 22. And my offensive tackles are Andrew Thomas, 23, and Tristan Wirfs, 23. The left tackle of the Giants and the right tackle of the Buccaneers.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I hope you've got some quick corners.
I don't. They're all old as fuck. They're all older than God's dog. I mean, that team on paper is absolutely outstanding, isn't it? If you could field that team, that's insanity. Great offense there. It's going to make my job quite difficult. So I'm going to give you 3 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 3 DBs. Okay.
Thanks, man.
And bear in mind, I'm actually doing this on the fly because I've not had a chance to think about it too much. So 1 defensive lineman, I am going with Aaron Donald, the GOAT.
Definitely not the GOAT, but okay.
Maybe, we've spoken about this before. Maybe not the GOAT, but certainly the GOAT in today's world.
He's the GOAT of interior D lineman.
Yeah. I'm going with him. I'm then going to go with... I think I'm going to go with Matthew Judon. He is only 30 years old but I'm going with him, who is leading the league in sacks this year so far. And I need a run stuffer. And on the outside, I'm going to go with Ndamukong Suh.
Oof. Okay.
So yeah. my front 3, Aaron Donald, Matthew Judon, and Ndamukong Suh.
It's pretty nasty.
My linebackers, I'm going Bobby Wagner.
Who's he?
From the LA Rams, but formerly an all-pro linebacker from the Seattle Seahawks. My other linebacker, I'm going for Levante David from the Buccaneers.
Pretty good.
Yep. So Bobby Wagner's 33, Levante David's 32. My defensive backs, I'm going Patrick Peterson from the Vikings.
He's so fucking good, man. This week,
Yeah.
I nearly signed him.
Did you?
Yeah, he's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I went with Patrick
He had
Peterson.
2 picks.
He did, and one was a game winner. Patrick Peterson, yeah, he's 32 years old. He's still got the juice, and that was what I was thinking about. I thought I need somebody with juice. Weirdly, my other DB is also a Viking. I'm going for Harrison Smith, a safety from the Vikings. He's a proper old goat, but he's just a bit of a field general, and I think that he would do well in this scheme. Harrison Smith from the Vikings. He's 34, and then my final DB. I just need to check if he's old enough.
Got to be Gilmore, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know if he was. It is Gilmore, but I didn't know if he was over 30. Is he?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
In which case, it's Stephon Gilmore, the cornerback for the Indianapolis Colts. Oh, he's easily over 30. The man's 32.
Is he?
Yeah, he's old as fuck.
young puppy is spring chicken.
Compared to us, he is. But yeah, and I'm going with Stephon Gilmore as my other DB. He currently plays for the Indianapolis Colts, and that is my team that would have to go against your team. And I do believe that your young guns would probably come out and smash the back end out of these old goats.
It'd be difficult, I think, to stop him. I don't think you've got the pace.
No.
Although Peterson, Gilmore, and then Smith is like a safety cover in the middle, I think they know how to position themselves well. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, and our linebackers, Harrison.
Yeah, your linebackers are quick.
Bobby Wagner's not slow, and Levante David's one of the faster linebackers in the NFL. They could keep with you. Aaron Donald is a very fast interior lineman. And Ndamukong Suh not so much. And I've forgotten him. Judon's quick. Yeah. So I don't know. I think they could. I don't think they would get destroyed, is what I'm saying. I think they would hold their own. But some of the players that you picked are on pace to be another level. Give your team another 3 years, they will be absolute dominance. Give my players another 3 years, they'll be in a old folks home.
Fucking dementia. We need to mention Justin Jefferson. I think at the minute he's the best wide receiver in the league. Yeah,
I mean, I'm surprised we didn't speak about him. Oh, maybe I kept that game to last. Oh, I did. Dave coming in the clutch because I left the game of the week till last and we didn't recap it. The Vikings against the Bills, man. Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Go on, Dave. Sorry to interrupt, but we'll recap the Bills Vikings.
It makes sense. I mean, all I was going to say is that Jefferson he's a phenomenal. He literally, Tyreek Hill's a walking 100-yard game. Justin Jefferson, at the minute, is like a walking 140. The guy is phenomenal, and he's got Kirk Cousins throwing the ball to him. Imagine if he had an elite arm talent throwing the ball.
Yeah. It's another level. He had 10 receptions for 193 yards. Do the maths.
Disgusting.
Do the maths. It's nearly 20 yards a catch, which is absolutely unheard of in the NFL. And when the game was on, I was sat watching it with our mate Cam, and Cam was like, okay, yeah, the Vikings had been pushed to 3rd and 33 or 3rd and 23, actually. Sorry, I think it was. And he was like, yeah, it's over, it's done. And I was like, hold on a minute. I was like, Jefferson is down there somewhere. And literally, as I said that, not trying to force it, but I said, Jefferson is down there somewhere. And as I said that, he threw that catch that Jefferson caught one-handed whilst being bodied by another receiver, one of the best catches I've ever seen, certainly one of the best catches this year. And he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. He was unstoppable, unguardable, just unbelievable. He must be the best receiver in the NFL right now. It has to be.
I think he is. I mean, and like Devontae's had 2 really good weeks. Tyreek Hill actually had a bit of a down. He had 55 yards, I think, or 44 yards, something like that, this week. But Jefferson's done it all year long, week in, week out. He's been like I say, unguardable. So I think ultimately, you've got to say he's one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league.
Yeah. He's another, like, what did I message you? I messaged you during the game, didn't I, saying that Justin Jefferson's an alien?
Yeah.
Because he actually is. He looks like he's from another planet. Like the way that he plays, it's savagery. And the Bills were up 24 points to 10 against the Vikings in the first half. They were dealing out their own damage with Stephon Diggs, and Singletary had 2 rushing touchdowns, albeit they were only goal line touchdowns, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns. It looked like the Bills were in comfort zone, and then the Vikings turned the Jets on, or the Jeffs on. That didn't make sense, did it?
You need to work on that one.
He turned the Jeffs on, and Jefferson went for yardage, but everybody came to play for the Vikings. Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins had 357 yards. I mean, they all did what they had to do. And as we said in my old GOAT section, Patrick Peterson had a day as well. Two interceptions, playing like he's 24 years old instead of 32. I mean, I don't really know what that debacle was at the end of the game. Like, it was an absolute mess from the Bills' perspective. For Josh Allen to give away a fumble inside his own end zone that resulted in a touchdown instead of a safety, which then meant that they were taken to overtime, and then to throw the interception that cost the Bills the game.
Bad interception as well.
Yeah, you can't put somebody who's doing those things. He did the same against the Jets last week, not the safety, but the interception. You just can't put somebody who's doing that in an MVP conversation. You just can't. No matter how good 90% of his other plays might be, he's making those critical errors. And do you know what?
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins, he's not. He doesn't make critical errors. He's just balling.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for setting us back on track with that one, Dave. The Bills lost to the Vikings 30-33 in overtime, and the Vikings go to 8-1, tied for the best record in the NFL with the Eagles. The Bills fall to 6-3. Still a good record, but not good enough.
And not quite the Giants.
No, they are not quite the Giants. They are not the dominant team in New York at the moment.
No, they're not. People need to recognise.
That's it. And that's it. That's this week done. Game over. This podcast has finito. So just want to thank y'all for listening. If y'all listening in America, and thank you all for listening in the UK. This has been The Mighty Have Fallen. Please make sure that you follow, subscribe, share, tell your mates, go on Insta tweet at In the End Zone UK, and we will be back next week to cover week 11.
Yeah, we're also floating the idea of a in the end zone fantasy next year. So a fantasy league for you guys and us to get involved in. We need to work out the mechanics of it, but if you're interested in that, hit us up on Instagram.
Slide into our DMs.
Yeah, and let us know what you think.
Lovely. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Peace.
Ta-ta.